Imagine it is a Sunday evening in Southern Kaduna, Nigeria. The sun has set, and a Baptist pastor named Daniel Bagama is at home with his family, perhaps reflecting on another week of ministry in a region where faith often comes with a price. Around 11 p.m. on January 18, 2026, armed assailants stormed Tudun Bussah village in the Kakao ward of Chikun local government area. When they leave, Pastor Daniel Bagama and his 3 daughters are gone, taken into the night by terrorists who have turned abductions into a grim industry. This was not an isolated incident. On that same day, nearly 175 worshippers were abducted from 3 churches in Kaduna State's Middle Belt. These coordinated attacks struck the Kurmin Wali community in Kajuru local government area, affecting congregations gathered for what should have been a peaceful Sunday of worship. Armed assailants believed to be Fulani militia stormed the area around 9 a.m., arriving on foot and motorcycles, splitting into groups that targeted the Evangelical Church Winning All, Albarka Cherubim and Seraphim 1, and Haske Cherubim and Seraphim 2 churches. A state lawmaker, Usman Danlami Stingo, told the Associated Press that 177 people were abducted, 11 managed to escape, leaving 168 still missing. The scope is staggering. Ordinary people who simply went to church expecting to return home. The assailants identified themselves as Fulani and forced worshippers from different congregations together. One church secretary described how they burst into the church shouting Allahu Akbar and warned that anyone who ran would be killed. Victims were told they were being taken to Rijana Forest, where other kidnapping victims have been held and tortured. What makes this story more troubling is the official response. The Kaduna State Government initially denied the abductions occurred and allegedly warned villagers against speaking to the press because publicity would tarnish the image of the government. Nearly 200 people disappear from churches in broad daylight, and the first instinct of authorities is to suppress the story rather than address it. When the Christian Solidarity Worldwide Nigeria team attempted to visit the community, security operatives blocked them. The military officer who stopped the CSWN car said there was a standing order not to allow us in, said Ruben Buhari, the group's spokesperson. This information blackout only deepens the trauma for affected families. If you are following this story and want to stay informed, consider hitting that like button and subscribing. Your engagement helps spread awareness about issues often overlooked by mainstream coverage. Eventually, Nigerian officials confirmed the incident after verification. Police spokesperson Benjamin Hundein noted that security forces were mobilized to secure the victims' release. National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu stated that President Bola Tinubu has authorized expanded deployments, improved intelligence coordination, and tougher investigations. The international community has also weighed in. At an U.S.-Nigeria Working Group meeting in Abuja, U.S. Undersecretary for Political Affairs Alison Hooker said the incident underscores the need for stronger action. The government of Nigeria must do more to protect Christians and their right to practice their faith freely and safely, she stated. This abduction wave is not new in Southern Kaduna. Just days earlier, on January 11, 2026, 21 people were abducted from the same community and only freed after paying around 7 million naira in ransom. On January 2nd, EWAC church leader Reverend Philip Adamu was among 4 people abducted from Ungwan Danladi village by assailants demanding 20 million naira for his release. CSW described the repeated attacks as a failure of government responsibility, warning that rural communities are being driven deeper into poverty by ransom payments and forced displacement. Several communities around Kurmin Wali have abandoned their homes, a slow-motion displacement crisis happening in plain sight. The Fulani militia were among armed groups designated as terrorists by the Nigerian government in December 2025, yet barely a month later we witnessed one of the largest coordinated church abductions in recent memory. The continued abductions raise serious concerns for enforcement and civilian protection despite official designations. In its 2026 World Watch list, Open Doors ranks Nigeria as 7th among the 50 most dangerous countries for Christians and the deadliest, accounting for 3,490 of 4,849 Christians killed for their faith globally. That is 72% of all Christians killed worldwide for their faith, concentrated in one country. These are not statistics. Each number represents a life destroyed, a family shattered. Nigeria faces multiple security challenges, including kidnapping for ransom, an Islamist insurgency in the northeast, separatist violence in the southeast, and recurring clashes between farmers and herders in central regions. Speaker of the House, Abbas Tajuddin, has urged security agencies to rescue the abducted worshippers, lamenting rising attacks on soft targets like churches and schools. Southern Kaduna Christian leaders have declared a 2-day fasting and prayer period for the victims' safe return. For families like Pastor Bagama's, every passing hour without news must feel like an eternity. The abduction has drawn renewed international attention, with calls for enhanced U.S.-Nigeria cooperation to protect religious minorities. This story demands our attention and voices. If you believe in freedom of worship and protecting vulnerable communities, share this video to amplify these voices. Subscribe to stay updated on this developing story. The question now is whether the Nigerian government can deliver on its promises of enhanced security, or whether communities like Kurmin Wali will continue suffering under cycles of violence, displacement, and poverty. Pastor Daniel Bagama, his 3 daughters, and more than 160 other captives are counting on someone to answer that question with action, not just words.